The phone slipped from my grip and struck the hardwood with a sharp crack that shattered the stillness of the house. For a heartbeat, I couldn't breathe. The glow of the screen lit the floor, a single message glaring back at me. Timestamp, 2:17 a.m. Can't stop thinking about last night. Same time tomorrow. The sender's name, Chris, seared into my eyes, heavy with implications I couldn't yet untangle. I didn't know the name, but it carried the weight of something I didn't want to face. Upstairs, Lena slept soundly, her soft, steady breathing mocking the storm rising inside me. How had this slipped past me? How had we landed here? That morning had been like any other. Lena had kissed me goodbye, her lips brushing mine lightly as she hurried out the door for what she'd called a work dinner. Her perfume lingered after she left, sweet jasmine laced with a sharper note, still hanging in the air while I rinsed our breakfast dishes. She had been distracted lately, smiles that didn't quite reach her eyes, attention snagged more often by her phone than by me. I told myself it was stress. A new promotion at the law firm, late nights with clients, a flood of emails. She even joked last week, "Don't expect priority treatment," her tone playful, though with a faint edge I couldn't define. I laughed it off at the time. Now the memory twisted like a knife. I picked up the phone again, hands trembling, reading the message once more. My thumb hovered. Should I dig deeper or smash the device into silence? The house seemed colder, larger, shadows stretching as though hiding things from me. Upstairs, Lena's phone rested on her nightstand, the lock screen displaying a photo of us from our anniversary, her leaning on me smiling like a fool who thought he knew his life. I typed in the passcode, our wedding date, and the device yielded with a soft click. The screen's light washed across my face as I opened her messages. There he was. Chris. Thread after thread. Some texts were trivial, plans for lunch, but others sliced clean through me. Miss you already. Last night was everything. My chest ached as I scrolled further. A photo began to load, Lena in a dim bar, laughter caught mid-motion, her hand resting easily on a man's arm. A stranger. Tall, broad-shouldered, a smirk that exuded confidence. I loathed him instantly, but worse, I loathed myself for not seeing this coming. The late nights, the secretive phone, the red dress she wore now, never for me. I sat on the edge of the bed, sinking into the mattress. Lena stirred but didn't wake, her dark hair spilling across the pillow, her face serene, almost angelic. How could she look so calm while I was unraveling? I wanted to shake her, drag the truth out of her in one violent burst. But then doubt crept in, whispering that maybe I'd misunderstood, maybe Chris was harmless, maybe my mind was inventing betrayals where there were none. I clung to that fragile hope because the alternative was unbearable. The next morning, I played the part. I brewed coffee, the steady burble of the machine filling the silence. Lena walked in, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Morning," she said, brushing past me to reach for a mug. Her fingers grazed mine, and I recoiled, longing and disgust colliding inside me. "You okay?" she asked, noticing the flicker. "Just tired," I replied, masking my voice with a smile. She nodded, barely listening, already absorbed in her phone. Her thumbs danced across the screen, each motion a potential lie. That evening she mentioned another work event. I gave her a calm nod, my face a mask, but inside, my resolve tightened. I needed certainty, not suspicions. Proof, something undeniable. I suggested she take my car. It would be easier to keep track of with the GPS app we both used. She hesitated, just for a second, her eyes flickering with something she couldn't quite hide. Guilt, maybe, or suspicion. Then she nodded, masking it with a quick smile. And moments later I was watching the tail lights disappear down the driveway. As soon as the glow faded into the rain-soaked night, I opened the app. The blinking blue dot pulsed like a heartbeat, anchoring my gaze. But instead of heading downtown to the firm's usual offices, the trail shifted, curving off into a residential neighborhood I didn't recognize. My pulse spiked. Fingers trembling, I grabbed my keys, the cold metal digging into my palm as if reminding me this was real. The drive was a blur. Streetlights smeared by the downpour. Wipers keeping frantic rhythm with my heart. Each turn the GPS announced felt like another twist of a knife. Finally, I rolled to a stop outside a brick townhouse, its windows glowing warmly against the storm. My car, our car, was parked neatly in the drive beside a sleek black sedan. I killed the engine, letting the silence roar around me. Rain drummed on the roof, my breath fogged the glass. Instinct screamed at me to storm up the walkway, to fling open the door and end the questions. But fear pinned me to the seat. What if I was wrong? Worse, what if I wasn't? Time blurred. I don't know how long I sat there before the front door opened. Lena stepped out, laughter spilling from her lips, a sound I once lived for but now cut like glass. She leaned into a man, Chris, I assumed, his arm snug around her waist as if it belonged there. Under the porch light, she tilted her face to his. The kiss that followed wasn't a casual goodbye, wasn't a mistake of proximity. It was deep, lingering, full of a history I hadn't known existed. My vision blurred, not from the rain, but from tears I hadn't realized were spilling. I clenched the steering wheel, knuckles bleaching white as the world I thought I knew tilted beneath me. Back home, the silence was unbearable. Every tick of the clock in the kitchen reminded me of time wasted, of trust eroded grain by grain. When the door finally opened, Lena walked in, cheeks flushed, hair damp with rain. I was waiting at the table, her phone in my hand. She froze, her smile faltering. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice too light, too brittle. "Who's Chris?" The words came out sharp enough to slice the air between us. Her face collapsed, if only for an instant, before she forced it back into composure. "He's a colleague," she said, but the excuse crumbled the moment it left her mouth. I turned the phone toward her, the glowing message damning her with a single line. Her lips parted, then closed again. "Finally," she sagged, whispering. "It wasn't supposed to happen. It just did. I still love you." Her words were desperate, a lifeline tossed out into a storm, but they rang hollow, drowned by the weight of what I'd seen. A mistake. My voice broke, louder now. "You've been living this life for months. Choosing him. Putting him before me." She flinched. For a moment, I saw the woman I married, flawed, human, trapped in her own tangled choices. But beside her stood the stranger she had become, someone who had fractured us deliberately, piece by piece. "I'm sorry," she cried, reaching out. But I stepped back. The air between us felt like a canyon, impossible to cross. Morning came heavy and gray. I packed a bag, not because I wanted to leave, but because staying felt like surrendering to something broken. As the zipper rasped shut, Lena stood in the doorway, her face a map of regret. "Where are you going?" she asked, her voice thin, almost childlike. "Away," I said, my throat tightening. "I need to find out if I can trust you again. Or if I can trust myself." Driving into the dawn, the road stretching endlessly ahead, I realized the betrayal wasn't hers alone. I had betrayed myself too, ignoring the signs, clinging stubbornly to a love that had already slipped away. In the rearview mirror, our house grew smaller, fading into the horizon. And with it, the life I thought I knew dissolved into memory.